Are y'all ready to head off the trails? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would love to have you. And shout out to Bumblefoot for that awesome intro music. I always appreciate that. You guys, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Spaced Out Radio. I think Instagram is actually at Spaced Out Radio Show. You can follow me at thecryptidhuntress.com. All of my shows are there. All of my events that I'm going to be speaking at, everything that I'm doing is on my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's the Cryptid Huntress, where I have live shows over there every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we're about to add a brand new show over there at my channel every Saturday night. More to come on that. I'll let you guys know probably later this week. But yeah, shows are filling up, and it's a good feeling. If you guys would like to support the show here at Spaced Out Radio, we do have a Patreon that is called the Space Travelers Club. If you guys would like to become a member of that, we'd love to have you there. Also, I have a Patreon too. It's the Cryptid Huntress, and a shop. It's called War Woman Goods. Also, you guys be sure to get some Spaced Out Radio merch at spacedoutradio.com. Oh my gosh, what's up, everybody? I see y'all in the chat tonight. This is going to be such a fantastic show. I have Kevin from Where the Weird Ones podcast is. I've been on his show. Man, he's such a cool dude. He's up in Maine, and we're going to be talking about some of the most incredible cryptids out of Maine tonight. I had no idea. I'd never heard of most of them, or half of them. I hadn't heard of it at all. And well, I'm going to wait until I bring Kevin up, okay, because we got a lot to unpack today. But yeah, if you guys will please go to After Hours after this show tonight. Rob G has a great show lined up for us. Okay, so y'all go there right after we close the show down tonight. All right, well, let's get to our show tonight. Kevin Sapiel Jr. is the host of Where the Weird Ones Are podcast, a conversational-based podcast revolving around guest experiences and encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, spirituality, mental health, and conspiracies. Experiencing paranormal most of his life, he became fascinated with the Fortean field. He says, enjoy history and keep these stories alive for future generations. Well, heck yeah, that's what we're doing here tonight. Please help me welcome to the show my buddy, Kevin.
What's up?
Hey, Kevin.
How's it going?
Hey, oh my gosh, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I feel honored.
Oh man, I'm so excited. We're going to have a great show tonight because we're going to be talking about some really cool cryptids. What's going on with Maine? I mean, it's up in New England. You guys have some of the coolest cryptids, Kevin.
Well, we have the weirdest cryptids, I would say, because we are weird, because this is where the weird ones are. Plug.
I know. Did the weird cryptids inspire the title of your podcast?
No, not at all. Actually, it was the book Where the Weird Things Are. That's what really inspired it. But my whole life I've been told that I'm weird, and I'm just like, yeah, so what? That's kind of how it went. I knew I needed the word weird in my name, essentially. So.
Yeah. Hey, us weird ones have to unite. Okay, that's
Absolutely.
what brings. We put out this good entertainment for everybody, though. Okay, and we're surrounded by fellow weirdos, right? I love it. I love you guys. It feels good to be weird. That's all I'm saying.
It does. It does.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So. Well, where should we start tonight? Because, okay, first of all, maybe we should pull up a little map of Maine where the cryptid sightings are. Okay, because, and this is not all the cryptid sightings. This is just some of the main ones. This is what Maine looks like. In case for our people who don't live in the United States, you might not be familiar with Maine, but this is a map. There's about 10 cryptids listed right there, all over the state, just to give you a visual of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Also, you know, I found some pictures online of some of your cryptids. So if you guys want to get a nice little view, I mean, that's a lot of strange cryptids right there for one state.
Yeah.
What is the history with Maine? Is there anything going on in Maine that would cause you guys to have so many cryptids there, you think?
I don't know in particularly, but it's really weird because like I was just discussing this with a friend of mine that, the Chupacabra, one of which is a well-known cryptid. The sightings are what, Texas and Central America, and then there's a sighting in Maine. Out of all the states, like it's all like the southern area, and then all of a sudden there's just one sighting in Maine. Um,
Wow.
I don't know.
Oh,
I feel like people have a little bit more of imagination when they're spending so much time in the backwoods, you know what I mean? And then they see this something, and that something is indescribable to them, I guess, and it kind of happens to just be described as this creature. But um some of them kind of have pretty interesting stories. So, and they're really fun to listen to.
absolutely. Okay, so what is your favorite cryptid? And have you had an experience with a cryptid before?
I actually have. Well, I think I have. I have two experiences where I'm pretty sure one of them was a dog man and the other one may have been the skinwalker kind sort of. Although we don't have like a lot of skinwalker like sightings up here. Like that's more like Arizona, New Mexico kind of thing. Because it's a Navajo, it's a Navajo tribe thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, so those experiences were, first of all, the one that I think is a skinwalker was freaking weird, and it would just happened in the middle of the day. And then my dogman one was probably well, I think it's a dogman. I don't know exactly what it was. I saw red eyes, and I associated it at the time with a demon. I was like, "There's a freaking demon outside my house. I need to get my gun." And so that's what I did. I got my gun, and I was scared the entire night. And then once I started really like looking into cryptids and whatnot, like just what was happening around that time, I was like, this might have been a dog man.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so there are dogman sightings up there. There's actually
Yeah,
a pack of wolf men. I want to say wolf men, but it's really just bipedal wolves, like a
yeah.
pack. There's a very well known story that I just found out about. I didn't know anything
Did you
about this.
really?
No, I didn't know
Yeah,
anything
this one.
about it.
Yeah, it's a interesting story. So it happened in Palmyra, Maine. I can't remember what year it was. But I don't think it was very long ago. But so this husband and wife owned this farm in Palmyra, and one night he's out in the fields and he sees these like, large dogs, and he tells his wife about them. He tells his wife about them, and then so she's kind of scared a little bit, and then they start seeing the eyes just off the just right on the cusp of their property in the woods and stuff like that. And they start seeing them, and they're moving bipedally. And there's about 3 to 5 of these things. And so they end up coming up to the farmhouse, and they're knocking on the walls, they're scratching on the windows, they're making noise. They end up hearing them on the roof and stuff. And now this guy's wife, for whatever reason, didn't like guns. So she made him keep his guns out in the barn, which is,
Ooh,
the best place to keep your guns when
horrible.
somebody's breaking into your house,
Come on, man.
because you don't want nothing more than to have somebody break into your house and have to run to your barn for your gun. You know what I mean?
It does. I bet they don't
Um,
keep them in the barn anymore, though. I bet they don't, because that was actually a key element to like this whole encounter. Was that
yeah,
the family got surrounded by these bipedal dogs uh,
yeah,
they were in the wood line, and I believe from I think Linda Godfrey had actually taken the reports and had talked about this before, and so this couldn't have been more than, I don't know, had to have been within the past 20 years. Okay, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think
but
so.
they were seeing lights in the woods. I think they had just moved into this property. It was surrounded by dense woods, and the husband was disabled. I think he was out of work because of a disability or
Really,
something.
because
So
the story that I know of, he ran to the barn to get his guns, and
yes,
he was messing with the lock, and they started coming up towards the barn, and he got too scared, so he ended up um not getting into the barn to get his guns, and he ran back, and they just basically huddled in an upstairs bedroom for the rest of the night.
I know. Imagine how scary that would be. And and I think that part of the story was that they found every sharp object they could find so that they could stab whatever they came in the house. But I don't think that they would have been able to protect themselves, honestly, if the creatures had decided to come into their house. That's just me. But yeah, it's pretty terrifying. But they did survive the night, and they survived to tell about the story. And the next day, I believe they went out and looked for tracks, and they found
Yes.
bipedal dog tracks out there.
So I just pulled it up real quick. He was out in the woods with his son. I didn't.
Mhm.
The story that I heard, it was just him and his wife. But apparently, they had 2 kids,
Mhm.
a son and a daughter as well, that were in
Yeah.
the house that night. So I didn't
Yes.
know that. I didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
that part.
Yeah. Their daughter was actually sleeping, and I hopefully she stayed in bed the whole time and didn't wake up, because that would be, like Cryptoville says, like a B-rated scary movie. Yeah, it does. It sounds like a
Yeah, it
scary
does.
movie.
Absolutely, it absolutely does. Um, but yeah, I'm trying because I was trying to figure out. I looked it up real quick to try and figure out what the year was when the sighting happened, and yeah, it came up with they had a son named Sean, so that it's
Mhm.
Eric and Shelley Martin are the names. Um, but that's about it. I think it says October of 2022.
Okay.
So
Oh, well,
I
that
don't
was
know if that.
recent, but I don't know. That may have been when the article was put out, but
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's when the
mhm,
article was,
because
and
Linda Godfrey, I believe she's passed away now, so it's been a little while. So it had to have been
yeah,
a while back when this happened, but nonetheless, they were being held hostage in their own house. And from what I can remember from the report was that when they would turn on the light, the motion sensor light outside would come on, the creatures, the bipedal dogs would not come into the light. So they didn't want to be in the light. They didn't want to be seen. And so that was his only protection, was getting into that light when that light would come on. Uh,
yeah.
he never did make it to those guns, though. I tell you what, I
No,
would.
he never did.
Oh,
No,
I
he
would be
never did.
so mad if I was him.
Oh, same.
I would be so mad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same. I keep my gun, right close. I keep my rifles hanging up on the wall where I can get to it if I need to, so.
Man, I might have one on me right now. I will never
Yep,
tell. I don't know.
yep,
You know what I mean? Yeah, not a good place to keep it in the garage or barn, whatever it was.
for
But
sure,
anyways, anyways,
for sure.
but that happened. Okay, so this happened, and that's not the only report of like dogmen or possible dogmen in Maine. As a matter of fact, we had Kenny Thibodeau on the show, also AKA Star Fox, with the
Yep.
North American Dogman Project. He was on last week. He's from Maine. Do you happen to know Kenny? Have y'all met before?
Yeah, he was on the show, not too long ago. The episode came out, I think it's 101 episode 101 on my podcast, so, his camera was broken, so there's no YouTube video with his episode. So we just recorded audio, but yeah, he's a fantastic person. I really enjoyed talking to him. He's just very monotoned, like he doesn't seem very excited, but he's very intelligent, super
He's awesome.
intelligent. You know what I
Oh
mean?
man, no, we had a really good time. That was a great show, man. I had a great time. But yeah, there's all sorts of dogman reports up there in that area up in Maine. So
Yeah.
okay, well, let's talk about some other cryptids, because look, I told you before the show started, I was like, we're gonna have to get all these in. We have so many to talk about, and I want to get them in. Now, I have to say, I did. So I've seen a couple people have mentioned that I look like a lumberjack tonight. Thank you guys. I know I look like a lumberjack, but I did this on purpose because I wore this red flannel shirt in honor of the goat man in Maine.
Okay.
Because tell the audience what the goat man was wearing, Kevin.
So the Cherryfield Goatman was seen wearing a flannel shirt. Nothing other than nothing, like literally nothing else. So he had the bottom half was goat, his torso and his head were human, but he had goat horns and he was wearing a flannel shirt. And this sighting happened in the 50s. So this hunter, he was like a logger. or whatever. And he stopped at the gas station, filled up his tank, was driving maybe just a couple miles after the gas station, and his truck just shuts off, and he's like, what the hell? So he gets out and he's pops his hood, he's looking through everything, trying to check for electrical things and stuff. He gets under his truck and looking for leaks and stuff because he doesn't understand why his truck just stopped working and he had to pull over to the side of the road. And he gets up from looking underneath his truck and he sees this goat man wearing a flannel shirt walking across the street. And he stares at it for a minute and it smiled at him and then continued on walking across the street into the woods. And that's the only ever sighting of the Cherryfield Goatman. And this guy probably reported it and then was like, because there's no name with the reporting, and he's probably like, keep my name out of this because I am not getting run out of town because I'm crazy. Yeah. Goatman is, there's a lot of like gods and stuff referred to that are depicted as goats, like Pan, there's Baphomet, um, the fawns and the satyrs or whatever, and Greek and Roman mythology and all that stuff. It
Oh
it
yeah.
it's been it's a myth for so long now. It's no wonder that there's supposed sightings, and it really got wicked. Like Goatman got really popular in the 70s, especially in Maryland.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, there's so many goatman sightings all over the United States. We have
mm,
goatmen here in Georgia. I think Texas has the record for the most goatmen. If I had to do like a tally up of like who had the most goatman sightings, I'd say Texas has a bunch.
yes.
But they're all over the place. And here's the one thing that I find very interesting is that they are usually seen on a bridge. I wonder
Yeah.
why.
No, yeah, it is really weird. Especially Texas. Maryland also has a Goatman Bridge, which they call the Cryberry Crybaby Bridge in Bowie, Maryland. So this like folklore of the Goatman in Maryland, if you park underneath the bridge, underneath this Crybaby Bridge, you will hear either a baby crying or a goat braying. And you will all even see Goatman himself. So um, it's interesting. So I don't know if there's like a certain time that you have to park underneath this bridge, but there's supposedly you're gonna, if you do, you'll hear something freaking strange, and then you'll see said Goatman.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I wonder if like at a certain time of the night or when the sun goes down, I wonder
Yeah.
if there's some sort okay, I may be going out on a limb here, but what if there's some sort of activation of a natural portal that opens up that things are able to come in and out of our dimension through?
That's
Maybe that's what it is.
that's what I'm kind of thinking of some kind, because I mean you hear like these weird stories like the like railroads where you park your car and put friggin baby powder all over your um you put baby powder all over your car and you can see like children's handprints or whatever. There is a goat man in Louisville, Kentucky, Rachel. Um, but yeah,
Oh,
so it's interesting that it's associated with the bridge. And in Texas, it's a railroad bridge. And
yeah.
I don't know what the Baby Bridge is. I think that's a road, but there's a road underneath that goes underneath it. But with the Goatman Bridge in Texas has a river going underneath it, and it's really high up. If you fall off that bridge, you're done.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wow. I was just thinking there's a whole lot, not a whole lot, but there's multiple stories of buses that get stuck on a train track or a car or like a bus that got hit by a train in a small town. We have a story like that here in Georgia where a bus, this is allegedly, I've never done my research on it, but they say that there's like a bus that got hit. The children were they passed away, and if you put your car on those train tracks, you put the baby powder on it, the hands are on your car. So that's not just like one localized story, it's like kind of the same story in these different towns all over the place. Now I wonder if that like it really happened or it's just part of like a local legend that I don't know, it's almost like maybe it didn't happen, or maybe it did. I don't know. I don't know who the originator of that story is, or if there were a
Yeah.
whole bunch of buses that got hit. Man, who knows? Something to look
It,
into, though.
yeah, anything's possible at this point, that I
Yeah.
feel these days. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
it's I've done like a lot of looking into the Maryland Goatman, and it's mainly said to be like a genetic experiment in Beltsville Agricultural Research Center in Beltsville, Maryland. And the research was done by Dr. Stephen Fletcher. Now, the research center absolutely denies all of this, which rightfully so. I mean, come on now. So he supposedly, Dr. Fletcher supposedly did this experiment on his assistant William Lotsford, and this was in the 50s. And uh, um, the newly switched Goatman changed. Goatman began to escaped and began attacking and attacking cars along what is it called, Fletchville Road in Maryland with an axe. So he
Well,
escapes this experiment, this laboratory, and starts chasing cars down with an axe uh in 57 in Forestville and Upper Marlboro in Prince George's County of Maryland. A young couple was parking. So if
sure.
you don't know what
Okay.
parking is, it's something that
So
teenagers tend to
you,
do.
you take the
Um,
car and you park it somewhere and you go smooch. You get a little smoochy and
yeah,
handsy. But it's very dangerous because you might get a knock on your window by a dog man or a goat man. So just remember that. Remember that, kids.
yeah. So supposedly this kid heard a noise in the woods. He goes and investigates and never returns. So the next day they did a search for him, and they found his head hanging in a tree above where the car was parked, but they never found his body. And the weirdest thing is it sounds a lot like the Hookman urban legend. You know what I mean? The Hookman
Yeah.
that escaped from the insane asylum and then descended on a couple in their parking. The
Okay.
same thing. It was a park, and he hung the boyfriend from a tree or something like that right above the car. So
Okay.
like that, like the parallels to that
Yeah,
are uncanny. You know what I
that
mean?
sounds like the B-rated scary movie that Cryptoville had mentioned earlier. It does
Yeah,
sound like it. It is kind of like an urban legend, I guess. And
yeah.
that was the phrase that I was looking for when I was trying to describe, like, why are these same stories in all these small towns, I mean, I had a story that I never heard anybody tell. I thought my family had made it up about Mad Maud in the woods and Rawhead and Bloody Bones. And then the little girl whose dog used to, okay, this is horrible. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna go ahead and tell it. I'll tell the world. I had a story when I was a kid about my mom used to tell me that the moral of the story was humans can lick too. Okay, that was like the end of this story. But uh, a little girl had her dog. Whenever she'd be scared at night, she'd put her hand beside her bed, and her dog would lick her fingers to let her know she was okay. The dog was right there with her. And one night she got scared, and she put her hand down to make sure her dog was there, and he licked her fingers, and she woke up with like something dripping on her head, and it was her dog's head, like nailed to the wall, and it had a note that said humans lick too.
What?
Isn't that horrible? Those are the kind of stories that I got told as a kid. That was my bedtime story. Okay, so y'all wonder.
Holy
So
cow!
if anybody wonders why I am the cryptid huntress today, okay, I ain't scared of nothing because I grew up on really scary stories like that. But yeah, so I don't know. I would not be surprised if other people have heard those stories too, where I thought that my family was making those stories up. But I've heard people in the cryptid community talking about that on their podcasts about Rawhead and Bloody Bones and Mad Maud and stuff. So yeah. So
Wow.
I think I'm like egocentric, thinking it was just my family that told those stories. But yeah, they're everywhere. Okay.
It
Okay.
really
Oh,
is.
okay. So we have somebody else in the chat that said they heard that when they were a kid too. Thank you.
No, I never did.
Yes.
I never did. You know,
Yes.
I usually got fists to the face before I went to the bed. So as a kid,
God. Oh no. Well, I mean, I used to fight with my brother and my sister a bit too. So, but
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's get back to these cryptids. I know that was not really a cryptid story with that humans can lick too, but it's a good
that's a
story.
scary story. I'm scared now.
It was.
No, just kidding.
It was. Well, that's what we're here for. We're here for the creepy factor tonight.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so we got all these goat men everywhere. There's not just that one goat man. There's actually another cryptid that looks kind of like a goat man. And
Mhm.
what is the name of that thing? Okay, let me pull this up. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm going to find it here because it is called the Tate Road Shagamo or Shagamo. The Tate Road Shagamo. Now, have you heard of this before?
I have not.
Tate Road Shagamo. I have a picture of it right here. It looks kind of like a goat man. Okay.
Just without the horns, yeah.
It does. Now, let me read my research I did here. Okay, it's a large creature with the forepaws of a bear and the hind legs of a moose. Shy and harmless. Yeah, right. It says shy and
Shy
harmless.
and harmless, and
It
you look like that? Come on now.
what? What? It says that it changes tracks, walks erect, and paces in quarter mile intervals. It eats clothing. Okay, so that's weird. It said it eats clothing. Like if people leave their boots out or any kind of like, if it finds any kind of, it's almost like a goat, I guess. So it would be like a
Wow,
goat because
yeah.
goats eat anything, right?
Uh-huh.
But it lives in the woods and it has been spotted by loggers, lumberjacks. Okay, but it's not seen wearing flannel shirts. Apparently, it's all the way naked. All right, naked
All the
by
way.
human standards. Yeah, it targets women's shoes. It does. Okay, so it does. It looks like a sloth monster. That's right, sloth.
It does. And it looks like a sloth too. Um,
It does. It looks like a
you
sloth with goat legs.
so if I can, real quick, I do have this book. It's
Okay.
called Mythical Creatures of Maine. It's written by Christopher Packard. It's it details a ton of cryptids here in this state. Um, and have you heard? So that map that you brought up of Maine,
Hmm.
of the different cryptids, Agripelter is one of them, and no, the other one that you have.
Okay. This one.
Yep, there you go. The
Okay.
very first one is the Agripelter, and it's in this book, and he talks all about it. And I believe he details pretty much all these cryptids right here on this on here. And we have Bigfoot, and we have sightings of Bigfoot. We have sightings of Cassie, the Casco Bay sea monster. We have Casco Bay mermen.
Oh
Um,
man. Okay. So can we talk about this for a second? Because this
yeah,
is a very
absolutely.
interesting one. So you guys are on the coast. Okay. It's no secret. You guys are right there on the water. And
Yep.
and so these reports go back to the 1700s. Um,
Yep.
and um, and so and it was mostly by people that were on ships. Okay. Now this is described as like a snake serpent. It's almost like a very snake-like. It's a serpentine monster, and it's been cited throughout the years from the 1779. There was a sighting in 1818, a sighting in 1836, a sighting in 1905, 1910. But do people still see that today?
There hasn't been any recent sightings that I personally know of. But I mean also all these cryptids are also detailed in Lauren Coleman's Cryptozoology Museum, which I just so happen to be wearing the shirt. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I'll
I
stand up a
love
little bit.
that. Oh, I love that. You guys have an actual, it's like the International Cryptozoology Museum. I was
Yep.
looking at that. I've got to come up there and visit sometime because that
Yeah.
that
Well,
sounds really cool.
supposedly he's moving it to Bangor, which is going to be a lot further from me because Portland's only an hour from me. Bangor's 3 hours from me. Yeah, it looks similar to Nessie. Yeah, and that's why it's called Cassie, is a play on the
Oh,
name Nessie. So and it's Casco Bay, so it goes with Casco, which Casco Bay is a part of Portland. It's just like it's a the Bay Area where ships are porting and whatnot. And then the mermen are that those
oh,
are ridiculous. I don't even like, yeah.
okay. So
Um,
Of course, I had to find like the most scary, ugly creature merman I could find. Okay, because when you listen, when you Google merman, they're too pretty. Let's just say, okay, they're too pretty, and we're not looking for pretty mermen. We're looking for scary mermen. Okay,
Yeah.
I want a scary merman. All right, for the show tonight. So, anyways, this is the best one I can find because some people. Okay, so I was getting confused. Like, is Cassie considered to be a merman, or is Cassie the sea serpent snake, or are they two
Uh,
separate entities?
they're two separate. Yeah,
Okay.
Cassie is this the serpent. Um,
Okay.
and it's said to be as big as a ship. So
Big as a ship. Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, Ryan's in the chat. Hey, Ryan. Ryan Tremblay. Every time somebody mentions merman, I think of merman from the Masters of the Universe. Yeah. Well, I was thinking of like, what was that, Aquaman? I was thinking of like Aquaman.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that
Well,
guy looks pretty cute, but
there was video yeah,
not
there's
this guy.
videos, recent videos that it was viral on TikTok of this fisherman off the coast of Cape Cod. He was ship he was out there fishing, and he had these two things just keeping up pace with him on each side. And they look like, if you look inside, they kind almost like, I mean, I don't know if my imagination just likes to put things where they shouldn't be, but they almost kind of looked like people in the water just keeping up pace. Looked like regular hands. Almost and it was doing like dolphin-like stuff, but it didn't look like a freaking dolphin, you know? And then he stopped on the ship, and like he's walking around the ship. There's nobody on the ship except for him, and I think there was like two other guys. And you can hear singing out on the ocean, and it's dark. He can't see. He's like, "Where are you?" And I'm just like, "Oh my god, get the fuck out of there, bro. Go home. Go home. Go home right now."
Yeah, I mean there's sirens and
Yeah.
the mer people, let's just call them mer people, they'll lure you in to the water, they'll send a scout out, they'll send their siren out and trick you and take you to the depths of the ocean and where you're
Yeah.
never seen again. They'll
Yeah,
probably
I don't
eat you. I think they're going to eat you if you get caught with one of these right here. Those
yeah,
teeth
I
are for eating.
even when I go and have a beach day, I probably go up to my waist, and that's about it, you know what I mean? Like, the ocean is 80% undiscovered. I'm not messing around with it. You can keep it out there. It's a lot harder for me to get away from things out in the ocean because I can't swim as fast as I can run. You know what I mean? And that's another reason why I go to the gym so much, and you know what I mean? And I run so I can have the lung capacity to get away from things if I need to get away from them.
Exactly. I know. Actually, it's really sad because um, for some reason, a shark attack came up on my feed on like one of my social media posts or my sites that I was on. And I didn't want to see this, but I watched a man get eaten by a shark the other day. And I was kind of mad. Like, I don't know why I'm getting, that may be why I keep getting more videos like that now because I actually watched it. So thanks Instagram. Appreciate that. Now it's an algorithm. So now I'm getting to
Yeah,
see people getting eaten by predators now, I guess. But
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Okay.
One Nothing Podcast definitely did an episode on shark attacks, and they've been sharing a shark attack video. So that maybe that's what the video you saw recently.
Yeah. And no, it might be, but I don't know. I'm not sure where it came from, but nonetheless, we have a lot of things to worry about, not only in the water, but on the land too. And in Maine, I mean, I would definitely watch my back every time I'm out in the woods doing
For
research
real.
up there. There's obviously a lot. I mean, if there's a cryptozoology museum in Maine, that means that there's a lot of cryptids up there. I'm just
Hmm.
gonna put it out there. We have a Bigfoot museum in North Georgia, right in the middle of Bigfoot country. So I would assume Lauren knows something about the cryptids up there, including there's another dogman type beast in Maine. It's called the Turner beast. Are you familiar with that one?
A little bit. Like, I don't know much about it. I know it's supposedly like a cross between a wolf and a coyote or whatever, but it's huge. Oh, you know what I mean? And wolves are huge. But it's supposedly somebody killed it, like they accidentally hit it or something like that. And I don't know. It kind of looks like just a regular dog a little bit, but it is a big dog.
Yeah.
It is really
Okay.
big.
I'm only going to show that for a second because that is a deceased animal there. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's, okay. So this thing is supposed to be just, okay. So when you look at pictures, they don't really show it on two legs, like bipedal. It's usually just like
Right.
a large wolf.
Right.
But it looks, the way people describe it is just bulky shoulders, big eyes, a flat snout, so like a flat nose. So it's like a short faced dog,
Yep.
I guess, with mangled ears and a bushy tail. But it was whatever that deceased animal was that I just showed, it was proven to be a hybrid of some sort. And they said it was like a dog and a wolf, I think, or like a dire wolf, is what they said. But yeah, whenever this dog was spotted, they said it was at least 120 pounds. Like, listen, I have a German Shepherd that's about that size, so
Yeah.
she's like the size of a wolf herself. But
Yeah. The
yeah,
picture of the deceased dog, like it looks like a normal dog. Like it's a big
it does.
dog, but it's not dire wolf size, in my
No,
opinion.
there's his face again. It just has a weird looking face. Okay,
Yeah.
so, and it has blue eyes. Beautiful. It would have been beautiful. I don't know why they'd hurt it.
Almost like a husky because
It
with the
does.
eyes, you know.
Yes. It does. Okay, let's move on to another really cool cryptid that I had never heard of. It's called the Bill Dad. What is a Bill Dad? Are you familiar with the Bill
I've
Dad?
never heard of this one either. To be honest with you, I might have to go look for but I do know that there's jackrabbits up here, which are rabbits with horns that are pretty big. That could be maybe, I don't know, thrown into this Bildad thing, but you know, I don't know for
Like a
sure.
jackalope? Y'all have
They jump
jackalope?
just like a kangaroo, yeah,
Okay,
and they're
that
big. They're pretty big.
okay. Wait a second. So is that a thing? So rabbits can have horns for real? Because I thought that was something that people made up.
Yeah, no, jackrabbits
Jackalope for
have
real?
horns. Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting. I've never heard that rabbits have horns ever. Okay. But anyways, all right. Well, we're gonna look into that. I might do a show on that then. But this is called the Bildad. Okay, this is at Boundary Pond, is where this thing has been spotted. It resembles a beaver with long hind legs, short front legs, webbed feet, and a hawk-like bill, known for its unique fishing technique involving leaps and tail smacks to stun and catch the fish. It's approximately the size of a beaver. It's shy, it's hard to catch, incredible in leaping abilities, known to leap past fish to stun them with its tail before eating them. Mostly eats fish and it eats bugs that are on top of the water as well. But this thing looks like it's got a beak. It looks like a kangaroo. It looks like a marsupial. It's just weird. This is weird. It's got like bird-like feet. I mean, I don't know.
With
I think
T-Rex
this is a
arms.
little T-Rex arms. That's right. It looks almost like a dinosaur or something. Something from like the I don't know. It just looks like something that could have been.
It's so weird looking.
It's almost like a modern day dinosaur or something to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. If anybody in the chat has ever heard of this, I'm sorry, I haven't really been looking, but marsupial, marsupial. Yeah, it's just a weird hybrid mix. Now, okay, so these are some very odd. I mean, that's an odd animal. Do you think that this is regional? Like it's been here forever? Like, what is your take on that? Could there be like some kind of secret? I know this is stretching it, but like secret government programs where they're making like hybrid animals out there, just kind of like the chupacabra?
I wouldn't put past them, to be honest with you, especially after they brought all the Nazi scientists over here after
Mhm.
World War II and stuff. The Nazi scientists were into some weird ass
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I wouldn't put it past them to do any kind of like experiments. It's just like the dog man experiment that happened in the 50s. I mean the goat man, sorry, experiment that happened in you know, the um in Maryland. There we go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put them past. I would definitely wouldn't put it past as a lot of these creatures like cryptids and stuff like that being um laboratory created.
Yeah. Lab created. Like Earth is just one big laboratory, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
Cool stuff, though. Okay, so we have more, but wait, there's more. Okay,
Wait,
because
there's
we
more.
got that really cool Bildad, which that is a strange name for an animal.
It
Bildad.
is.
Okay,
It is.
I don't know who came up with that one. We have something that's called. I mean, it's referred to as a white walker. Okay, and what is the actual name? Let me see in my notes here. The
Chihuahua.
Kiwakwa. Yeah. Do you know anything about the Kiwakwa?
So it's
I like that.
it's like essentially like a zombie Wendigo. Like, well, Wendigo is described as a zombie, but that's essentially the story um behind this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it's does the same from what I know of. I mean, maybe the research will tell you different. But from what I know of, they basically do the same thing as Wendigos.
Yes. Okay. It does sound like a Wendigo. It's okay. This is from what I found today when I was doing some research. It's a gigantic humanoid with an unending appetite for human flesh and a
There you
heart made
go.
of ice in the shape of a human figure, which is weird. Um, it was once feared with a deep primal dread, and I'm sure it will be. It's going to put fear in people's hearts now. Okay, once we talk about this tonight, hopefully not. Y'all don't live in fear. Okay, don't live in fear, please. But the it is actually so Kiwakwa translate
Well,
into walks about the woods. It walks about the woods, and the name itself is a warning. Uh, it says, well, most of the stories were passed down orally in oral tradition around a campfire, of course. But it
oh yeah.
is something that the natives have talked about for a long time. But it's clever. It is cannibalistic. Okay, so it is very much like a Wendigo. Okay, but it looks like a White Walker. And for people who aren't familiar with White Walkers, this is from the Game of Thrones. Okay, and they had
Yeah.
something called White Walkers. I'm actually looking at all these shows differently now, Kevin. It's almost like soft disclosure. Okay,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
even like the fantastical stuff, like even like Harry Potter and stuff. I mean, there's all this magical stuff, all these cryptids, all these scary characters. I think that there's some truth behind it.
I mean, the language of spelling,
Mhm.
it's their spells. That's why that's called spelling.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well,
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of symbolism in movies and stuff like that. So that's my brain of thought. So not that everybody should share it. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm incorrect, but I think I think they tell us things inside of what they're creating to show us. So
yes.
that's where I'm at on that. So
They're having us, okay, they're having us create a dystopian reality, basically, is what that is, I think. We have a super chat tonight. Chris Holm, thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. But he wants to know, Kevin, can you please come shovel his sidewalk? He said he heard you're good at it. You guys must know each other.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. I just posted a video yesterday because so we got a really bad storm up here in Maine yesterday. A lot of people without power as ice snow slash snowstorm. And we got 6 inches here, and it was still kind of warm out, so I was out in short shorts and boots
Oh,
and a
God.
hat.
Saw
I
that
had a furry
video.
hat on,
Was that you?
and I was shoveling. So,
I
and I made
saw
a video
that.
of it.
I saw that. I was like, who is that? It was you. I was just like
It
thumbing through. Okay. And you were, yeah, that was okay. I see what you're talking about. That's funny. Okay. Well, I hope you guys stay warm. You, oh my God. Okay. Back to the cryptids. Oh my gosh, back to the cryptids. Okay, so we also have because we got about 10 more minutes tonight. So let's go over these other ones. We have the specter moose too.
the
Okay, so let's talk about the specter moose. What do you know about this thing?
So the specter moose was also seen in the 50s-ish area. Oh no, it was late 1800s, I'm sorry, or early 1900s. Either way, it was seen by this gentleman who was doing a guided hunt, and this is the first sighting. He sees this big majestic. Now this moose is it's white, so it's, there are such things in real life as, an albino moose. Albino anything is real. But this moose is huge. The rack is 10 times bigger than a normal moose, and it's almost like a paranormal glow to it, like ghostly, kind of like, apparitionist in a way. And it's said to have two different effects. Either you're left in awe and you just feel so good about life, or you feel doomed, much like Mothman, the harbinger of doom. It's almost said to be like a harbinger of doom. So like you see it right before something bad happens, or you see it
Mhm.
and you feel good for the rest of your life or something like that. Now, this guy sees this on this hunting trip, decides not to shoot it because he was just like struck by awe. And he decides to start telling people about it, and people are like, "Man, you're crazy." And he's like, "I swear to God, I'm not crazy." And then some gentleman from New York comes up here for hunting and sees it too, and then he starts telling people that has seen this moose, and then people are like, "Well, maybe there's something to it." And suppose there's been sightings all up until like present day. And there supposedly also another story where they actually caught this moose, strung it up, slit its throat to let it drain, because they were preparing, to skin it and stuff and use the meat and all that stuff like hunters do. I know it's a little gross, and maybe some people aren't into to hearing about that, but that's what they did. And they left their campsite. They came back and the moose was gone. And then like down a couple miles down the road, this guy is out in front of his yard, sees this moose bleeding from its throat, and is like, gets scared, picks up his gun and shoots at it, and then the moose charges him, and then he drops the gun. And supposedly, this is the funniest part of like the sightings, is that this moose picked up this gun and started shooting the gun at the with its mouth. Like he picked it up with its mouth and the gun started firing at the guy's house. That story I don't believe, but I do believe in like the apparitionist like kind of stories. And I actually am considering on doing like a little documentary out on Lobster Lake on these sightings.
Yeah, I think you totally should. I think, you have such a wonderful, you have so many wonderful cryptids out there. I mean, it can be kind of dangerous because you have several that are similar to Dogman, and you have the Wendigo up there. I mean, we don't have any sightings of Wendigos that I'm sure of here in Georgia. I've never heard of any here.
Well,
So,
yeah, well, Wendigo are associated with a cold environment, scarcity of food, so like starvation and stuff like that, and then people turn to, cannibalism as a way for food to sustain life.
oh,
And it's said to be like there's a spirit and it takes over your body, so you become possessed by the Wendigo spirit, and you turn into this grotesque thing, and you start devouring everything in your sight, not just humans, just anything living, really. And you don't discriminate. You see a human, you're gonna go after it no matter what. So that's essentially the lore of Wendigo, and Wendigo sightings are all across like North America. So Canada, northern United States. They're all over the place. There's in the Nahanni Valley, there's sightings of Wendigos and stuff like that. So it's um it's an interesting entity. Now, I will say a real Wendigo does not look like a deer. Wendigo in pop culture was seen in like the movies or a comic book with wearing a skull, deer head skull with the antlers on it, and then ever since then it's been depicted as, this thing with these huge antlers. But it's just like this really, it's more like the White Walker that you shown earlier is how Wendigo looks, but it's like its limbs are stretched out bigger. It becomes a lot bigger in size, and it looks very sickly, like malnourished, and it often even like eats its own freaking it has no lips because it ate its own lips because it's so hungry,
dang.
so it's getting anything that it can get, and it'll even eat itself.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that sounds terrifying. And also, I was reading that it prefers to eat children. Now I don't know. I read that in one article, but I mean I would assume it just eats anything. So
Yeah,
it may be a cautionary tale to keep kids out of the woods when by
could
themselves.
be. It
Yeah.
could be. But a lot of these things seem to like children too, and I
Mhm.
think that a lot of these things are tales for children to be more cautious.
Yes. Yeah. Ryan Tremblay says the deer staghead started with Algernon Blackwood's book. So it started off in a book. So that's
But
kind of where
okay,
that came from. Now I was reading that they can be up to like 10 feet tall. I mean, super
yeah,
huge. I mean, we have Bigfoots that are big like that, but just think of a big cannibalistic white walker coming at
yeah.
you
That's just like
in the
it
woods.
sees you and it wants nothing to do other than to get you. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well,
And
I was invited up to Maine potentially to come do some Wendigo searching. I don't know if I may be busy that week now. Just kidding.
shout out Cryptid Warfare, Drewski and Zook. You know,
What's up? Exactly. Yeah, they may be planning a trip up there, and it was kind of floated around to see if I might be interested in going. So I might have to make a trip up there just to come to that cryptozoology museum that you guys
yeah.
have. That sounds like a lot of fun. And
It is a lot of fun. It's pretty interesting. And I'm interested to see his new place once he gets it up in Bangor. So, um, because the museum in Portland, his area is kind of small, and I feel like it's a little tight. So,
oh yeah, well, you got plenty to talk about up there with all of these amazing cryptids. And on top of all of this, we also have Bigfoots up there, right? You have
mm,
Sasquatch sightings and Bigfoot. Of course, I got a couple pictures of what, but y'all
yeah,
know what Bigfoots look like. We talk about Bigfoot. This is my goofy Bigfoot right here. I like that one.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no shortage of that. Now you're right there, like on the border where Canada, basically too. So
yeah.
very cold. What is your climate like up there? Is it usually, I mean, super cold during the winter? But what's it like during the spring and the summertime in Maine?
Well, this year in the spring, we have snow and 18 degrees, so that
Oh
was
my God.
fun to encounter yesterday. But yeah, so normally springs just, 40, 50, sometimes 60 degrees. Winter can be extremely cold. It's usually January, February that is the worst, like most northern states. And yeah, it's summer can we've I think our record high is like 110 for temperature.
Oh wow.
So I'm pretty
Okay.
sure if I remember correctly. But fall is my favorite because I love spooky season. Spooky season is my favorite. And I enjoy like don't get me wrong, I love summer. I love being outside in the summer. I love gardening. I love nature. I love hiking and all this stuff. But you can still hike in the fall. You can hike year round, really, honestly. But hiking in the fall is the best because you get so many colors up here with the
This
trees,
is coming.
the
This is coming
foliage and
from
all that.
Kevin. That's coming from a guy who plows the snow in shorts and no other clothes. Okay, with a in a furry hat. So okay, I love it. I love it. You're so hilarious. This has been a great show, Kevin. Thank you so much for being here. Please tell the
Thank you for having
audience
me.
where they can find your podcast and anything else you'd like to share.
All right, so it's Where the Weird Ones Are podcast right here on YouTube. If you're into the video format, if you're into the audio, I got Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio, or Castbox, which is the RSS feed, and you can go there to listen to it too. And randomly, I was googling my own podcast, and there was other platforms that I'm on that I didn't submit to, so. I'm not sure I can't even remember what they're called, but it was interesting to find out. Um, but yeah, it's a conversational podcast based around people's experiences and encounters with all this weird stuff. Um, and I love talking to people about, mental health, especially with these sightings and encounters, because oftentimes we are left with our own thoughts because we don't want to tell anybody because we think we're crazy and we, and we don't want other people thinking we're crazy. But I just want to provide that safe space for somebody to tell me their story. And, if you want to do it without being recorded or whatever, I totally can do that too. Or if you want to do audio only and you don't want to do the YouTube aspect, I do that too. So if you want to be featured on the show, you can get me at wheretheweirdonesare@gmail.com. I got Instagram, which I'm most active on, where_the_weird_ones_are. TikTok. Now, if you want to follow me on TikTok, you're more than welcome to. But I don't do just the podcast stuff. I post gym stuff. I post stuff that I think is funny. Because I tend to think that I am funny, which sometimes may not come across as funny, but I do think that I'm funny. So the TikTok is Kevin This Is, if you're interested. Again, that's totally fine. In the Patreon show, I have Patreon, which is patreon.com weirdos only. I have, which is only $5 a month. You get Conspiracy Tuesdays and Story Time, and you get a free coffee mug. Chris has a free coffee mug that he got. So,
Chris.
um,
All right.
yeah,
All
so
right.
that's pretty much it.
I love that. Oh my gosh, you are funny, by the way. And this has been so much fun, like I said. And yeah, so please come back and hang out with us again here at Spaced Out Radio, man. Come to my channel, come wherever you want, and just come hang out with us. And let's talk some more cryptids sometime. And yeah, everybody, please give him a follow on Where the Weird Ones Are podcast. Okay. All right, Kevin. Have a wonderful night. I will see you back here soon, I hope. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Take care, bud. We'll see you soon.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right, y'all. Wow. What a fun show tonight. Gosh, I didn't know there were so many goatmen all over the United States. Okay. Up in Maine too, with some really cool other cryptids up there. Some that look like kangaroos and stuff. So you never know what you're going to encounter in these woods. That's why I always say, keep your head on a swivel. Always tell somebody where you're going before you go into the woods at night or go into the woods, period. Just take precautions, y'all. Okay. And yes, there are goat ladies too, Brandon. I saw that. There's not just goat men, there are goat women. And yes, somebody else earlier asked if there were dog women. Absolutely, there are dog women. There's got to be females to all of them, right? So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this show, and I hope that you learned something, and I hope you'll come back and see me next weekend. In the meanwhile, I'll be over on my channel, The Cryptid Huntress, on YouTube. All of my shows are also on Rumble, so you guys come see me. Please like, share, subscribe, and I guess I will see you guys next week. Y'all have a wonderful night. Keep your head on a swivel. And please go hang out at after hours right after we close the show down. Y'all have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.